Hello, it's Dawn Michelle.
For you, and you can just
you do it for me.
Hello, that's Dawn Michelle. Oh no, that's Dawn Michelle.
Over here. Over here. Yeah. And welcome to my channel. Today I'm hanging out with my very, very good, very best friend, Marlene Theresa, who's come on to have fun and hang out with me and answer our other really good friends' tarot tag of 21 tarot questions. So this came out of the shenanigans that I don't think you went either. I wasn't able to attend.
I missed the Sunday shenanigans. I missed it. And then I saw that Lisa had posted the hashtag 21 tarot questions. And I'm like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
And she said that they came up with these 21 questions basically from the chat, from the folks,
I think they all participated.
Mm-hmm. And they're super fun questions.
Okay. So.
Well, we were talking, and I was going to do the tag myself, and you were going to do the tag yourself. So I said, why don't we just try this out together?
Yeah.
I invited myself here, basically.
Let's just call a spade a spade. We weren't brave enough to do it live, so recording.
Maybe we will one day.
Maybe one day. Come hang out and chat on my channel. Are you ready?
Yeah. So I want to be able to guess yours, some of them. I'll try to guess, and you can try to guess some of mine because we know each other's tarot collection so well.
And have a lot of the same decks.
That's true.
Okay, so the first one was, what is the deck they'll have to pry out of your cold, dead hands?
This is probably, I think, the best question, and it's the first one.
I think
this is one I would save for last if I were filming. If I were filming on my own. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to guess?
Yeah. Do you want to guess?
Well, I can guess the ones that probably everybody that knows you would guess, right? So the Llewellyn is one I would think of. Now, like, my mind's a blank now that I'm like in the moment.
Okay, so the one I picked is the Spolia.
Oh, the Spolia.
I never talk about because it's like out of print and that irritates the crap out of people. But I mean, I could try to show cards, but this might not go well. We'll see. This deck, this is like my little miracle deck because it took me forever to get it. Right? It's collage.
Yeah.
And because it's out of print, it usually goes for astronomical prices, which I won't pay.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I love how simple it is. It's like simple collage. So anyway, I found somebody who was willing to sell it to me at a reasonable price, and then it got lost in the mail. And we were like, oh, it's done, and you can't like replace it, right? Because it's not like she had another one laying around.
Oh no.
And then over a month later, it just showed up in my mailbox.
That is a miracle.
So it's like my little miracle deck. So it's probably out of like, you know, that whole, if your house was burning down, you know, and let's just say you're not going to grab your kids or your pets or something.
What deck would you go after? Right.
That's probably the deck I would go after because it's kind of, you know, it's my little miracle deck. I use it a lot for spiritual work too, which like, so because I don't go into detail on, you know, publicly, it doesn't come out a lot, but like that would be the one I would grab and just like take off with.
Is the Spolia, and it's Spolia, Spolia?
Yeah, I think it's Spolia.
Spolia. Is it one of like the OG like collage decks, like one of the older ones, like Voyager?
I think it is an older one. But this one's the first edition. I think it's like as far as indie decks, it's also like I think it's a full Minchiati too, because it has all the
astrological sign,
zodiac sign. I love this Taurus card. My camera is terrible for this, but so it's supposed to keep them in order. And then it has like the, the signs too.
I have to like move my glasses up and down.
Sorry
for the glare from our glasses.
And then Pisces, and then it has the elemental cards too,
cool.
Which I stuck
That's
my
a beautiful. But it's like a huge chunky deck, right?
The card stock. I come to think of it, I could have put it in that question too, because the cardstock is like, it feels really nice to touch up, but it's terrible to work with. Like, it's big and chunky and all of that, but like, I love it. I wanted it for so long. It was like my unicorn deck. I couldn't get it. Somebody finally let me buy it off of them, and then it went missing.
I like the way that you approached answering this. Oh, we didn't say that before, that what? We like, this was really when I talked to Lisa about it. I was telling Lisa how amazing she is, because she talked about 21 different decks in less than half an hour. It was like 20.
That's not gonna be us.
No. But is she like managed to like show the deck, say like 2 or 3 really insightful things about it, and move on. Mm-hmm. And she said though that when she picked them, that she did it as a challenge. She just grabbed them. She didn't think too much. She just grabbed them, and that's what I did. I answered, because I look at my spreadsheet of my decks, and then I answered it that way. So I did it really quickly.
Yeah, I did too. Right? Yeah, like 10 minutes before we started this, because I'm old school, I printed the list, and then I just sat down, no decks, just sat down and wrote down decks. Yeah. And then afterwards I went and grabbed them. So, and like with these things, like it would probably change. Like if we did this again in like 6 months, I would answer differently for a lot of them, probably.
Yeah. But so you approached this one as like a deck that was really hard for you to get in your collection. So that's why it's so like nobody can take it from you.
Yeah. And I mean, there's several decks that could go in that collection, right?
Yeah. I approached this as like my babies, like my favorite decks, and I couldn't choose just one. I have 3. Can you guess what they are?
Well, I would definitely guess your Gelfling deck.
Oh,
you didn't think of your Gelfling deck.
I didn't pick. That's the new Palladini Tarot.
Yeah.
That's a newer love.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, right? Like, there were a few other decks that I'm like, okay, are fairly recent, that like right this 5 minutes, you could not pry that deck out of my cold dead hands.
Right.
But in 3 months, that might be different.
Yeah. I think since I'm newer, then they're not, like, they're not as, I mean, it's a new, like, so the new Palladini is my newer love, but these 3 are like my favorites. So, well, I guess I'll show these 2 because they're a pair that my friend made bags for me.
Hey, I recognize those bags.
That match the inside. How cute is that? Mm-hmm. So, the Animal Wise Tarot is one.
Yeah.
I love this deck so much. I love everything about it. This deck, like, yeah, I don't know that everybody loves this photography, but I do. I think it's the keywords and the animals. And I think what this deck did for me, oh, look, here's my card, my tortoise. What this deck did for me is realize how important animals are in my practice. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I love it. It's a summer deck though for me, but I would want to make sure. Yeah, I wouldn't let anybody take this away from me. I'd fight you.
I'd fight you for it.
I'd fight you for this deck. I guess the question is if like someone was robbing me and they tried to take my Animal Wise from me, I'd be like, I'll fight you for this deck. And then Then this one is in this bag with the matching.
But that one I know it's in there because mine is in it too.
Yeah. It's is that upside down? No, that's the right way. Tree Spirit Tarot. So another photo deck. So I guess these are like, they are like, I don't know. They live in the same kind of category of photorealistic decks. And because they have the keywords. That's another thing that I really love about them. I love this deck. Yeah. I need to get the guidebook.
You do need the guidebook.
I do. I was like, honestly, I was on Amazon today looking at it again because it's expensive for just the guidebook.
Yeah.
But I do need it because I'm not like a tree expert. That's why I think the keywords are so good. But yeah, you would have to fight me for this one too. Or I've changed the prompt to fight me for this deck.
Did you just stick to tarot with your choices?
I have all tarot. Did you?
I do too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, the way that the prompts were written made it feel more like tarot. I don't know. I mean,
it is tarot questions, but like I sometimes lump Oracle in with tarot. But I was just thinking like another deck that I feel like I would fight someone for. It's an Oracle and Mag's Tree Whisper.
Oh yeah.
I would fight someone for that deck if they tried to take it. I didn't include an Oracle, so I'll throw that in there as honorable mention.
So spoiler alert, no Oracles coming up.
Nope, no Oracles.
So then the last one that you'd have to pry out of my cold dead hands is the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum.
Okay, this is duh.
Yeah, this is it's just my, like, this deck is home. This deck taught me the tarot. I love just the black card.
That's just so cool.
And the thing about this one, I think that made me like it felt so special to me too, is because I didn't see a lot of people with it or talking about it. And I'm like, why? When I got it, the cardstock is luscious too. I love shuffling this deck. Probably one of my, if you can see her, my favorite high priestess ever. I just love that.
Yeah, she's so cool.
Yeah, Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. It's just so good. And the Infinity edition that I have as well is really good, but I think the OG still has my heart over the other one. I like using that one. I would probably use it more if it didn't have the shiny mirror backs.
Yeah.
But God, I love this deck. And I just want to like use it. Oh, I love the hermit. Yeah.
So cool.
This was probably also one of the first decks that I would just sit with and like shuffle and watch TV. And it was like just part of my being. It's just like a part of me.
It's just a part of me. I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, I totally cheated with that one. I didn't cheat that much with the other ones, that there's more than one.
I didn't cheat at all. Well, okay, I didn't cheat at all as in grabbing more than one deck.
Well, there's one I think that you can't really answer. We'll get there.
Yeah, it's you're right. There's one that I have just question marks next to because I'm like, oh, let's get into this.
Yes. I thought of that. What's your guilty pleasure deck? So first of all, I was like thinking, because Lisa, what did she pick? Lisa picked like an erotic tarot. I think
her erotic.
And I was thinking of like, this is something that that you enjoy, but that is not necessarily highly regarded, or people might tease you because you enjoy it. That's how I thought of it. The Lightseers Tarot. Now, I know this deck there's so many mixed feelings about it. It's so funny because I think it makes it that I don't know if I need to really show the Lightseers Tarot. Does everybody knows it? I edged mine in an emerald green. But like the consensus, I feel like, is like love or hate with this deck. And like the people that don't like it really, really don't like it. I know you're one of them.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
And the people that do love it, they really love it. And like, I feel like it's, but they're not like, they unabashedly love it. They're not ashamed. And I feel a little bit like it's guilty pleasure for me. Cause like, I don't think I want to always admit
like to your
like that I like
to your
this.
girlfriends that like that's your secret
Yeah.
crush deck.
Yes. Like, look at this Knight of Cups. Like, come on. Like, how cheesy is this guy? You know, and I love this deck, right? It's like bad reality TV. No, not the deck. That I like the way that I feel about bad reality TV is a guilty pleasure. Well,
Guilty pleasure. Yeah.
maybe that. Oh gosh, I feel bad saying that the deck could be like bad reality TV, but I love it. I do.
It's a beautiful deck, and I think it's done really, really well. I wouldn't say I have an issue with it. I had the indie copy. I tried it. I used it. It didn't connect for me, and I think part of that is it feels really hipster, and that's probably more of a reflection of where I live and the type of energy that I'm surrounded with a lot of times. So, like, that's just for me personally not an energy that I want to bring into my personal practice. So that's a
Yeah.
very key thing.
It reminds me of college, and I feel like the guilty pleasure thing about it too is that like I'm middle aged, and I feel like I'm too old to be playing around. Like it's like I'm too old to be wearing that hippie
Right.
skirt or whatever. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I'm too
So
old to go to the drum circle.
me of having a channel name for like 3 years with the word boho in it, which was that was a whole thing in itself. I never thought that I'd actually be here still 3 years later for my channel name to matter. It was a joke between me and my youngest.
Yeah.
Anyway, that deck is too boho for me, which is the most ironic thing I could ever say given my
That's so great. Yeah, you would
training
think.
for years.
Yeah, that's so great. You would think that that
Okay,
would be like
so
your number
note
one.
to anyone else who wants to make a channel, do not make a channel name out of a joke because that can bite you in the butt later on.
That's true.
So, because I didn't think I'd still be here. I was just like, I'm gonna come on, show a few decks, and then go on my merry way.
All right, what's your guilty pleasure
Okay,
deck?
my guilty pleasure deck is the one in this bag. Why is
Now
still
I
the
don't
bag?
know your bags well enough. Your bags are really cute though.
It is
Oh
the
yay!
destination.
Desert Illuminations.
And I think this is like so the guilty pleasure, like I kind of took the take on it of like it's not the deck that I use for serious readings. Although
Okay.
I really love this Temperance card. This is a deck that I use because, like, I mean,
Yes.
this, like this, the
That's the
Judgment
best.
card, it's
That's
the
the
best.
Judgment card, yeah.
This, like, the whole Pentacle suit is just amazing. And so, like, it's a guilty pleasure because it serves no purpose in my practice other than just making me happy.
Yes.
It has no, and I don't mean that in like, a bad or, disrespectful way. Like I think it's really well done actually. It has a very it kind of has a boho nature to it too, but it's very like Area 51 in my opinion. Very I think American Southwest, which is really cool. But it just I don't know. I mean like I just cannot take that seriously. Like she's got like babies. Like it's such a fun
We've
like
seen
I'm
the
I'm not gonna
Jinx.
do serious deep work with this, but like if I am in a bad mood, this is like the deck that I pull out. It's like where's that good moods deck tag? I don't think I
Right.
had this at the time I did it, but
Yeah.
I've mentioned it before. This would totally be a good moods deck for me. And it is when I'm like in a bad mood, I will pull this deck out and do readings with it because like its literal only purpose is just to make me happy. It's to make
Right.
my it's like a bar of chocolate, right? It serves no
Yes.
nutritional value, but it tastes yummy.
Right, right. It's
Which
not
is
for
like
like deep spiritual work or a specific practice. It's just fun, good times.
it's like a chocolate bar. It's
Yes.
just yummy.
Oh,
So
oh,
what
this
is
is
the deck you
fun.
wish existed?
Well, yours has to be a Stargate tarot.
Yes, it
Has to
is.
be.
One thing I wrote across the Stargate. Yes, I would love a
Where are we
Stargate.
going to put the picture of Daniel Jackson on the screen? I'll have to like cover my face with Daniel Jackson.
Daniel Jackson, yeah.
Stargate. Or just a Daniel Jackson tarot, not Stargate.
Daniel Jackson tarot. Yes, I could totally do that.
You can edit this out.
No way, man. It'll be my boyfriend deck.
Yes.
That's the thing. Kevin will come in and are you watching your boyfriend? Yes, I am.
That's so funny. So then you can guess mine.
I would guess either Babylon. Are we doing sci-fi shows? Babylon 5 or Battlestar Galactica?
Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
That's
Was
exactly
torn.
it. Battlestar Galactica, for sure. But I thought of Babylon 5, but I love Babylon 5. It's more fun to me. Like I do love Babylon 5, but Battlestar Galactica is like everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun, but it's the drama, it's the story, the characters. Like that show, I could write like a dissertation about Battlestar Galactica, and that's why I think it's ripe. And you know it is because you want to use images from it for a tarot deck, and so
I would totally buy a Battlestar Galactica deck.
yeah, I would totally buy a Stargate deck, but not until I finish watching it. I'm only in season 3. And
I only put, I think, like 2 Daniel Jackson cards in my own deck. That was pretty good for me. There's only 2.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, for this category, I could have come up with a ton more. Like Battlestar Galactica was number 1 on my list, but Babylon 5 would be up there too. I'd love a Gilmore Girls deck.
That would be good. Yeah.
You know, Scrubs is another one of my favorite shows. It would be so much fun to have a deck. I wish that there was, like, kind of outside of the fandom thing, I wish that there was a deck of mythological creatures or that is better than the ones that I've seen out there so far.
There's a couple.
So the ones that I know of it's a pip deck, right? That's the one, the mythical creatures.
Yeah, there's the mythical creatures. And then Lisa Hunt has a fantastical creatures, but I don't know what all is in that.
That is, I've seen that deck and I liked it, but it doesn't, if for whatever reason her vision of those creatures doesn't like match what's in my brain. So I guess unless I guess I would have to make it myself. Like I can't do that. But I would, that's something I wish existed. I guess they exist, but they're the ones that are in my brain, like
are the same. Yeah, that's cool because I was going to ask you, like, outside of fandoms.
Yeah, like mermaids, the way that I see mermaids, like I feel like the Stunning Tarot mermaids are closer to the way that I think of mermaids, like not Little Mermaid mermaids, but like mermaids, but not too scary creature mermaids either. I also wish an alien deck by Don Michelle existed.
It's coming. Oh my goodness. One of the days. As soon as they start talking to me again.
What else would be on your list? That's not like fandom.
I think not fandom. The one thing that I'd really like to see is like, and I may just create it, but I don't know how to, I could never think of a better name, but like Tarot of the Old People, like a deck where everybody is over 40.
Yes.
Like Tarot of the Midlife Crisis. I don't know, something like that.
Yes, that's so cool.
Where, like, there is, because like I get it, but when I see 20-year-olds depicted in a deck, I immediately go to my kids because my kids aren't that age.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for me to even make a connection to some of those decks because they're like, they look like they exist in the world that my kids live in, especially really modern decks, which I know is like a terrible thing to say, but I don't have a ton of modern decks because that doesn't reflect my world. Like that reflects my kids' world.
Right.
And the sort of environments that they're in and stuff, but it doesn't reflect mine. And I know I'm not the only middle-aged tarot person out there.
Yeah.
That's my wish. A deck where everybody is over 40.
That's good.
That's the minimum.
I like it. I like that idea a lot.
Rarely see that. And like, yeah. Okay. I won't go into that tangent because I totally could. All right. So what deck would you give to a new reader? So my pick was actually the True Heart Intuitive Tarot.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Because the thing that I like about this deck, even though the cardstock is atrocious, and I could that could slot into one of these too. I've trimmed
the backs. I like the backs of that.
Do you? They're not my favorite. But anyway, this deck I think does a really good job of following the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, hello, 3 of Swords with heart and gag me with a spoon. But it does a really good job of incorporating some numerological and elemental aspects into the deck as well. So I think it's a great way to introduce someone to tarot because the images are really, really recognizable for the most part. It is also it's probably one of the more modern decks that I think I have. And it's fairly young. It's diverse, but everyone's pretty young and thin and all of that. But there's things like this. That you can still see the Rider-Waite-Smith in that, but you can also pull in the more numerological and elemental. So 8 as a number and swords as the suit of the mind or the element of air. And the guidebook is really good. And I think for a beginner reader, I think having a good guidebook is really key. I would also
anecdotal, that guidebook.
Yeah. So and that's one of the things I like about that guidebook. If I were to introduce it to a new reader, is that she does kind of tie into real life examples. So if you're new to tarot and trying to figure out how does this reflect my situation, I don't think she does it as much in the minors, but in the major arcana, it kind of helps walk you through the process of maybe how you might take an image like that and associate it with something you have going on in your life. So I think the guidebook's really good for that. I would also, because I couldn't pick one, any deck by Barbara Moore. I think Barbara Moore writes amazing guidebooks and they're really accessible for people who are new. So anybody who is new, I would just say, find a Barbara Moore deck that you like and go with that, because I think hers work really well for helping walk you through the process of using tarot for the first time.
Yeah.
But to pick an actual deck, I picked the True Heart Intuitive.
Yeah, I love that deck. It's one of my favorite decks. And if I were teaching a tarot course on the minors, I would use that deck as an example because the minors are just so good. They tell such a good story that I feel like for people, when you're learning, a really good learning tool is to learn things in a narrative. And because that deck does it well, that's one of the decks that I would use that too. That's a good choice. Good choice. Yeah. I mean, remember, I'm still I guess I would still be considered a noob to tarot.
I know. But, so I'm but you have such a eclectic collection.
It's true, I do.
That it would be hard to pick just one. I mean, I would have picked the Lyciers, actually.
Yeah. I picked 2 for this. And so our friend Jessica and the Moon, she just recently did a video that I thought was outstanding, talking about this very subject, about decks for beginners. And it was we should link it as well. It was just really fascinating, her take about what constitutes a beginning tarot reader. And I think like a lot of us, or many folks who have been reading tarot for a while, recommend things that seem accessible and modern, like but I honestly, like, I was just thinking old school, and I would use the OGs. If I would give somebody the Smith weight. The Centennial one is the one, the borderless is my favorite. So I have other versions, and I would give them a Thoth. I would, because the way that I learned tarot, and I'm just showing off my trimmed Thoth because I'm obsessed with it right now.
It's so pretty.
I trimmed this is the mass market. I did not trim my greenie. Heaven forbid I would trim it.
No.
But I trimmed I trimmed my large, and then I left a little micro, and I etched it in brown. But I would give them a Thoth because I like I want to like kind of dispel that idea that the Thoth is inaccessible to people, that it's too esoteric, or that you can't. I mean, and I know that there's a lot of like diehard, or long time, I shouldn't say diehard, long time Thoth readers who say the same. And I remember way back when, it feels so long ago now, when we had our Let's Talk Thoth with our study group, with Lisa and Danny and us, and you were like, it's just a tarot deck. Like, guys, it's a tarot deck. Don't be intimidated. Demystify. That's the thing. Although, I mean, there is mysticism here, but
but there's mysticism in the Waite Smith deck too.
That's
It's
right.
not out in the open like it is in the.
But you don't have to have a PhD to read this tarot deck. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to I like to study. I like to study it because I liked to, learn things. But even that, like, I don't think, like, I think anybody could. I would say I would give them this deck, and I would give them Mirror of the Soul, and then that's it. Like, and that's really what they would need to get started with this. Like, you don't have to learn the Kabbalah, and I don't know everything about the Kabbalah to be able to do it. But I included both because I think cross comparing the two decks is what taught me like the meanings of the tarot, that I could that live inside here and here, that I don't need necessarily the image for.
When you kind of learn those two base traditions, let's say, you can read any deck in any way you want if you've got that understanding. And I do love the approach, the Pippi approach of the Thoth as well. It wasn't until we started like kind of deep diving into the Thoth that I realized that a lot of what I was taught is a hybrid of the two systems, because I wasn't taught out of a book. I was taught by somebody. Right. And I don't even think I got my first book for like several months into like working with somebody to learn to read the cards. And then and then I just for years thought, well, the way I was taught to read doesn't align with what I'm reading in books most of the time. And the way I was taught made sense to me because it's very numerological, it's very elemental, and like there's a very clear progression, and it makes sense. But the way that I was taught, now that I've really learned more about both of those systems, is really kind of a hybrid of the two.
Yes. That's what I love about, and I can't wait to learn Marseille next. But like, I learned the Thoth, or I worked with and learned and worked with the Thoth like almost right directly after Waite Smith. So it's not like I'm married to one or the other. And like the layers of the two of them is the way that I read the tarot. And I love it.
I think that's great. Like, if you're just starting out, learning both. And I think getting into the Thoth right away probably helps with that. Like, you know, it's a thing where you build something up in your head and you're like,
Yes.
you know, like me going live publicly.
Yes.
I'm like, it's been too long. Now I can't do it.
Can't
I
do
should
it.
have ripped the Band-Aid off and done it from the
Yeah.
get-go.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like that's the thought too. Like, new
Yeah.
readers, just rip the Band-Aid off, right?
Do it. Yeah, just
Really,
do it.
you don't have to learn any system. I'm going to be like, totally get called out here, but you don't have to learn the ins and outs of every system to read a tarot deck. You can always read it intuitively too.
That's
I know
right.
that's sacrilege to say, but
especially with the Thoth. I mean, both. They're very intuitive, you know?
So number 5 is, what deck do you want to get along with, but it just never clicked?
I don't have that many of those decks still in my possession. Just this one.
You have the one. I don't even have the one.
You don't? Okay, tell me yours first.
Oh, mine's the Bohemian Gothic.
Oh, the Bohemian Gothic.
Because, like, I wanted to like that deck. I wanted it to work out for me. I tried and tried. It went in purgatory, came out, went in purgatory, came out for like 3 years, something ridiculous. And then I think the last time I did end up rehoming it, and that is one I do not regret, like, at all. It never, I don't know, it just never worked for me. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It wasn't meant for me.
Yeah. The ones, well, see, the ones, I didn't pick one that I don't have anymore. I haven't really rehomed that many decks.
Yeah, this was hard to do right after just purging a bunch of stuff, because I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that would fit into that, but I don't have it anymore because of that.
Right. Yeah. So the one deck that I'm still haven't clicked with, and I've tried. I don't know if I need to try again. I don't know. Like, you guys have made videos about this kind of stuff, about like, you don't have to try so hard. If it doesn't work, it's not working. But it's the Blood Moon Tarot.
Oh yeah, the Blood Moon.
So I know somebody who would take this.
I know somebody who would take it. But I don't know if it would click for me either. That's just mostly like, it's a curiosity.
It's beautiful, right? I mean, it's beautiful. I think like, it's the borders that's my issue. It's because it doesn't bother me that it's like way outside of your traditional imagery. That doesn't bug me at all. It's creepy, and it's got all these eyeballs. I mean, I don't mind. I have the Hayworth tarot that I love, right? So it's like creepiness factor. The things that, like the things that normally would turn people off, that's on like their list of things, that it's the the suits are renamed and stuff like that. I think honestly, it's just because of these borders, it's hard for me to see the artwork the way I want to see it. Even with glasses,
it's a little distracting.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. And it's not like, because honestly, this is maybe smaller than standard tarot size. I'm not sure. But like, if we, I'm saying we, because like we chop borders off, the collective,
what we do.
But like, if I were to chop the borders off, first of all, it'd be impossible because the artwork bleeds. The borders go into the artwork, and then it would be like a teeny tiny.
It wouldn't be impossible, but it would be a teeny tiny deck at that point.
And I don't want it to be a teeny tiny deck. Oh, nudity alert. I don't know. There's something. I don't know. There's something that's keeping me from working with this and really bonding with it. But
maybe it's just not the time and place. I mean,
so that's why I've held on to it. It's out of print, so I haven't been quick to get, to rehome it.
It's like the Trionfi della Luna for me.
Yes, I rehomed that one.
I had like a complete aversion to that deck when I first got it. And I was like, no, we're not with this. Like, I just can't. But I think that was more of a reflection of where I was.
Looking at this now, I I really like this deck. I'm not ready, but I haven't clicked with you yet. What is it?
Maybe it's just not the time and place yet.
Number 6 prompt is, what deck do you only keep for the art? This was hard. I don't have many that I can say this about. I mean, I love the art in all of my decks, right? But only for the art, meaning I don't really read with it.
That's the way I took it. Like, you have it, you don't read with it, but you keep it for the art. I mean, I have one. I may have more than one, but I could only think of one, and I didn't get it down because it's on that upper shelf, and I would have to get a step stool to get it because I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So what is it? So insert picture here. What is it?
It's the Visconti Forza, the Mary Packard. Oh my God. The Visconti Forza is the one that's up on my shelf, and it's only have it because the art is beautiful, but it's a Marseille, and I don't ever read with it. It never comes out of the box, other than just occasionally I look through it and go like, "Oh, this is so pretty." But now it's really on display, and I can't even reach it.
So the Visconti Forza is like it's a historical deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's the mass market reproduction of it.
It's of not a like historical deck.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like an El Manangalo deck or anything like that. And the cards are massive. I mean, they're like that big. They're huge. So it wouldn't even be one that I could really realistically work with, but I just have it because I love the art in it, and I love that it feels very old school. The book is really great too.
So this was hard for me because I don't have, like, if I'm not reading with a deck, it's because it's going to come back into the rotation eventually. So there isn't anything that I have that I'm just not really working with, but I picked one because it's the artwork. It's the artwork that I love the most about it, and it's my favorite style of art, and because it's very challenging to read with this deck. So I don't read with it as often as other ones because of the art, if that makes sense.
And it doesn't read well. Oh, yeah.
The Surrealist.
Yeah,
so this is a great deck. I mean, the thing is that it's surrealist art. So it is intense and it's filled with illusions. And if I can get it out of the box, this is why I don't do this. Backs. This is mass market. But like, that's not even one of the more like ornate ones. Here's a good one. This is the Tower card. Like, dude.
Yeah, that's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on in here. I could write a thesis on one card. Like, that's what's happening here. It's like surrealism, Dadaism. Oh, look, I think that's supposed to be like Dali. I think there are some nods to his famous paintings in here, but that definitely looks like him. Anyway, and I'm not an expert in surrealist art either, by the way, but if I had to pick an art style, that's my favorite type of art, it would be surrealist. But it's, I think I've used this just a handful of times, and I can't, like, here's Frida. And I can't pull, like, like, let me just even put two cards next to each other.
Yeah, that's a lot going on.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that is the one. Like, I keep it, and I will always keep it because these are like little beautiful mini works of surrealist art, but it's not as functional as a tarot deck as others.
Yeah. What deck did you buy? Because everyone else did. The epitome tarot tube made me do it.
Right. It's true. We all say it. So-and-so made me do it. Yep. Do you want me to go first this time?
Sure.
I literally bought this because everyone else did. We were in a group chat, you, me, Lisa, and Danny. It was our Thoth group. and we were talking about Thoth inspired decks. This one came back into print, and we all either Lisa bought it, and then we all just bought it. I bought it like on the spot while we were all talking because literally everybody else did. The Asherah tarot.
Okay, so that one would have worked for me too.
Except
Because
you just
literally just bought it because we were talking about it. It's not the deck I picked, but that's a good one.
Right? And I think you just put this up to be rehomed, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've thought the same thing about it when you were talking about it, that I am considering. Oh, I have all the title cards and stuff right here. I'm thinking about potentially getting the large size, because this is the poker
Yeah,
size.
when we bought it, the large wasn't available. It was only the poker.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think I might use that one more,
Mm-hmm.
but I have this in my bag. So I have it in my bag, and I've not yet grabbed it more. I have used it, but there's another like little mini deck in my bag that I grab more often.
Mm-hmm.
But this was just totally, my girls, my Thoth study buddies were getting it. I had to get it too.
Yeah.
Asherah tarot.
The same. But then I ended up like I'd already made the connection to my Hardy, and they sat in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said that in the video too.
Yeah.
But, okay, so mine is
yours
in this bag.
Oh,
Bags.
tarot vampires.
Yep.
I got it. Woohoo. Well, it's red and black. It's a red and black bag.
It's a red and black deck in a red and black bag. Okay, so like this is everyone was talking about it, right?
Yes.
I've seen this deck like a million times. It's not new.
Yeah.
But I think it was also everybody was talking about the book. And we were doing our Thoth studies.
Yeah.
And this deck was making its way around Tarot Tube again, as it normally does, right? It goes through phases, I think. Mm-hmm. This deck is so 1990s to me.
Yes.
So 1990s, which I love, but I never really got it because I don't know. I just didn't. Like,
I feel like you don't want to think about your teenage years when you're in your 30s, but you do when you're in your 40s.
Maybe, but I think for me, like I have other decks that sit in that like inner teenager space more than this one does. Yeah. So I think that's the thing, is I would look at it and go, yeah, I mean, I totally feel that inner teenager energy with it. Because like who in the 90s didn't want to be a vampire? I mean, we all did. So like, and I totally associate that with it, but I have other decks that sat in this space that I was like fit way better for me. It's got a very kind of it has a royal feel. What's his name? I can only remember his last name. Royal. Can't remember his first name. Anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. Very big in the 80s and 90s and maybe into the 2000s with that fantasy style art. And if you were someone who was more into the nerd stuff in that day, that's also an association that I was making in my brain, because the artwork is kind of stuff like this. Like it's kind of similar. Yeah. And so I had that association with it. Too, which I mean isn't necessarily like a bad thing. It's just this isn't really my vibe, as the kids say. But like then everybody was talking about it again, and then everybody was talking about how amazing the book was, and I was like, oh my goodness, just get it and see what the hype is, right? Just do it. So this is all of Tarot Tube made me do it. That's right. It's good, but it was never one that I really like felt drawn to. Like if Tarot Tube hadn't mentioned it, I probably still wouldn't known it. Like, let's just be honest about it.
That's great. Honestly, if I were to recommend a deck for the deck and walk, that would be on the list for sure.
Yeah, like it's a total Aries deck. I don't think I even showed it in my Aries video.
Oh, really?
I don't think I did, but it would have been a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it has the zodiacal, the astrological signs on it, and the book definitely goes into the astrology too. So it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it definitely, I feel like it would have been a really good deck for this first deck in too.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I don't think I included it because you
Yeah.
just forget. You have so many decks, you just forget.
Yeah. But I'm glad I have this one. I'm glad I have the Ashura. Are
Yeah.
you glad you have the vampire tarot vampires?
Like I've done some work with it. I'll probably do some more work with it like in the fall because it feels like
Mhm.
that's a good time,
Yeah.
or maybe next year during Aries season, because now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about that, that's a really good association, I think, for it too. But and the book is amazing. So I did really enjoy reading the book. It's one of those decks that I would own the deck just to have the book type of thing
Yes.
because it was
Yeah.
really,
So
really good.
we don't regret our peer pressure decks. We
No,
don't regret them.
I very rarely actually regret my peer pressure decks, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's the ones that I like impulse buy without any
Yeah.
forethought or like knowledge of a deck that I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
get it. And then I'm like, ooh, that didn't really work.
Hmm.
Usually, if my friends like it, I know my friends well enough to know where our tastes align and where they're
Yes.
different. So, like, usually that's enough for me to
Yeah.
tell.
Or if I'm watching, I mean, what the channels I'm watching are channels that I respect their
Yes,
opinion.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Just gonna say, even the people that I watch that I don't like know personally or that I have
right.
interactions with, because I don't know everybody in tarot too. There's a lot of people that have channels that I don't have
Yeah.
any interaction with.
And more starting every
Yeah.
day. So,
And so when I find, those channels and they're just people that, will recommend things. And if you watch their channel enough, you feel like you have a good idea of, kind of what kind of stuff they like and what they tend towards. And I can usually, figure out which decks I'm going to like based on how they react with it or interact with it. There's also people where it's like the exact opposite. I know if they don't like a deck, I'm probably going to like it. So
yes,
that's a
right.
thing too.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have this deck with me, but I think about this deck all the time, and I've been thinking about it recently because Candy Soul and Soil, has been discussing it. I saw it first, Meg at Rose Honey Ritual, and Thea, Garden Goddess Tarot, have shown it, and it is tarot as color.
Mm,
You know which one I'm talking
thank
about?
you. Yeah.
So I don't know that it's over my head. There's things about it that feel like it's over my head or that baffles me that it's so like what baffles me are the reactions that I've seen. Their experiences with it are like profound.
Mhm.
And so I'm so curious that I'm about to go buy this deck because I'm so curious as to if I'll have a reaction like that just to color
Mhm.
because it's very, very abstract. I want to get it. I do. I'm not sure if I will because I'm imagining myself like because the colors are the color scale that they use in the Waite Smith and the Thoth,
Right.
and I want to like put them side by side and see what happens up here and
Mhm.
here, you know.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, it's just like it's to the layman, who doesn't have it in front of their face, like, or at least to me, it just seems like it's just like color, like blobs of color.
Mhm.
But I don't it's not that I don't believe that blobs of color can't, like, move you. I just wanna know if they will do the same for me.
Gotcha.
So, anyway, but
That aspect, there are several decks that I'm baffled when people like them. I'm like, I
mhm.
don't understand that. I don't get it. I
Yeah.
won't name the decks because that's just not nice. But there are
Yeah.
some decks out there that I'm like, I do not see what you're seeing in that deck, and I do not understand why you're all talking about it.
Mhm.
But the deck, I went for the more that's over your head.
Like, in an esoteric way or,
Yeah, so I picked the Alchemical Tarot.
okay.
Because just like in this, I don't think this is gonna stay over my head
Mhm.
forever. I love the art in this deck. It's like I really want to take some time and work with it. The book, I guess I don't know if it's the book that actually goes with it or just the book that Robert M. Place wrote about. I don't even remember what it's called. It is massive. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit like, look at this Queen of Coins. I
Like
love her.
book of maps massive or
Yeah, like that massive.
okay.
And like, I mean, it's not a deck, like I could take it out and I could read with it. Right. This is a deck I could totally read with right now out of the box, and I would have no problem reading with it. However, to get all the nuances and the layer and the alchemical associations, that's what baffles me about this deck. That
Yeah.
I would want to, like something like this. But I
That's
would want
cool.
to really dive into, the why and the alchemical layer to it. That is, I think, a huge like layer to this deck that um, you just don't quite get I think the richness of it, the fullness of it. I mean, like this Four of Pentacles, I think is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he hoarding or is he just saving his resources for later, which is how I read the Four. I don't know exactly which take it is in this deck, but like I love the Emperor. I never like Emperor cards, but I think he's really cool. I was trying to get to there is this though, so
My God, even in an sorry.
even in this, but like this Ace,
Oh, I love that.
like and this High Priestess. I mean, I just think
Mhm.
there's so much. There's one particular card I'm trying to find. It's gonna be the last one, right?
It's just a subject that you aren't well versed in
I'm
yet.
not, yeah, and I feel like this is a deck that even though I could 100% pull it out and read with, and I've played with it for sure, but I feel
Mhm.
like to get that deep layer that is intended with this deck, you really need to understand that. And I love this star card.
Oh yeah.
It's super powerful, but I know there's so much layered in here that
Right.
I'm just not getting because I don't know it, right? So
Right.
it's just more of a case of I just need to take the time to get to know it. But for right now, that alchemical layer to it is over my head because I don't know anything about it. Okay, so I love
Uh
this one. What deck surprised you? There were so many decks I could pick in this.
yeah.
So many decks. Oh
So
my.
surprised you in that, like, you didn't think you were gonna like it, but you loved it. You thought you were gonna love it, but you didn't like it. It you thought it was gonna hit you for a particular practice, but it became something else entirely. I don't know. There's so many
Yeah, there's
different ways.
so many ways you could take
Yeah.
that question.
The
Okay,
beautiful
the
creatures.
beautiful
Yeah.
creatures.
I was just talking about this in my what is it was my monthly wrap up.
Mhm.
But like so I got this deck for myself and then I'm just gonna grab a couple because this box is ridiculous. Okay.
That box is ridiculous.
Um but I'm like showing gilding too because I love this. I love the color of this purple gilding, but it hurts my hands.
Mhm.
I bought this deck for myself and then I didn't immediately gel with it. And so then I gave it to my kiddo and she had it on her shelf and she played with it um, occasionally. And
Mhm.
then I don't know, I was talking to you and I was in a bad mood and I was like, I'm pouty. I'm feeling like a, pouty
You needed
teenager.
a bratty deck.
Yeah, I need a bratty deck.
Mhm.
And I grabbed this one and it blew my mind. It was so good. I could not believe how well this reflected. Like I didn't want to admit it, how well this reflected how I was feeling and was able to like show me. Um yeah, I love the keywords of
Mhm.
this deck too. So yeah, it totally surprised me that it worked so well, that I liked it so much. And it became a gateway to harder decks. Like
It was your gateway drug.
it was a gateway to the Chicoli Tarot. That's
Like,
how it
yeah.
worked out for
Mhm.
me.
I
Yeah.
knew you used that one for tarot for two sometimes, and it was even like pretty spot on for me too.
Your turn.
Okay, I was torn. I
Uh-huh.
almost pulled two decks in, but I ended up with this one.
Oh yes, so
Because
good.
it's also like, okay, so in like 6 months, this will be, you cannot pry it out of my cold dead hands.
That's how the new Palladino would be. I should have picked that one again
Yeah,
too.
because I mean, I didn't expect. Okay, it's a cat deck, so it says cat people, but it's not a
Right.
cat deck, and like it is a strange worlds alien deck that just, I don't know what it is. I lay down cards and I just immediately get what these cat people are telling me. It's just no question. Like,
Yeah.
I know right from the get-go what they're telling me, and I just absolutely adore it. I could have also put Tarot of Curious Creatures in here because I was surprised that I actually liked that deck.
Hmm.
But that one didn't like blow me away the way this one
Yeah.
has.
Do you feel like
The
you are immersed in that world with them? Like you're one of them? Or is it like you're just invited to like be an audience in their world
I don't
of
know.
their
I mean, maybe
life?
maybe it could be I'm in their world because I feel like we're speaking the same language.
Yeah.
So, like Doctor Who reference, if I was, traveling in the TARDIS and I went to the world of the cat people, the TARDIS would be translating, but it wouldn't really need to because I'd already be getting what these people are saying. There
I
are
love
cat
that.
people in Doctor Who too.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
um, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just get it. Like, I don't struggle with what the messages are. It just clicks immediately. Maybe I was a cat person in another life. I don't know.
Mhm.
You could take that either metaphorically or literally, but
Who would have thunk it?
who would have thunk it? It did surprise me that like
Yeah.
I freaking adore that deck, and it's always near me. Like, it
Cool.
never
I
goes
love
away.
that. I love that.
Okay, so number 10. What deck doesn't really work for you, but you keep it because it's a collectible?
There's like a handful of decks that are collectibles for me because they were I inherited them
Mhm.
from my mother-in-law, and I've shown them off before in several videos. But this one is I didn't inherit from her directly, but
Mhm.
like this deck, so there were like random cards from this deck that my mother-in-law left behind that
Mhm.
like I couldn't ever put the whole deck together. And so I went on a search for it, and I had to have it without even really knowing, the deck, what it was about, if it was for
Mhm.
me. I just wanted like this deck because my mother-in-law had it and I have
Right.
her tarot deck, but
Mhm.
I wanted the vintage version that was hers, which is the karma cards,
Oh, yeah.
the Monty Farber
Mhm.
karma cards. And I guess I won't take them out. Well, I guess I can, a couple. But it's an astrology deck, which is cool. It has the houses, the signs, and you're supposed to like, I think I should probably break the book out and use it for the deck and walk. But like you're supposed to line the cards up, and like there's a very specific like system and way to read with this deck. And
Mhm.
I've tried it a couple times and it was just kind of like, I don't get it. Maybe now that I'm dipping into astrology a little bit more, it would be better. But honestly, this is just a collectible right now. Maybe it'll change, but for now, the karma cards are collectible.
It's also not a tarot.
Oh, you're right. I said that I didn't have the oracle. I'm a liar.
Liar, liar. Oh, yeah, no, just leave it to your friend to call you out.
Oh my God, I totally didn't even realize I did that. That's so crazy. You're right.
That's funny. To mine
It's
that
your turn. What?
doesn't work for me, but I keep it because it's a collectible, is the Cosmo beings. Like,
Oh.
it's cute,
Hmm.
but I don't know, and it does have a bit of like the Marvin the Martian vibe. I don't care for the eyes,
Is
which
this out of print? No.
No, I don't think so. But it's
Oh.
just like it's an indie deck, and
Oh.
and it kind of as in it's a collectible, as in for me, I really don't have any intentions to work with this deck anymore,
Oh.
but I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
So like I'm collecting it, but like I tried to do a little bit of work with it, and it could be because like I'm doing my own alien thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that. And this is very like Marvin the Martian kind of energy, which is
Yeah.
cool. I like Marvin the Martian, but I don't know, it just
It didn't work.
I don't know, it didn't work for me. I was kind of disappointed that it
Yeah.
didn't work. But
Do
like
you
to be
have
perfectly
your other?
honest, hmm?
Do you have anything else by Joanna Nelson?
Uh-uh, I don't. So this was the one that I thought, the one of her decks that I thought would. If it was smaller, like I was waiting for her to come out with the travel size of this
Uh-huh.
because it's really, really large and it's really thick. And it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a beast for me to work with. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, if there's a travel one that comes out, I might be tempted to get that to try it to see if the smaller size makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, it didn't connect for me. I didn't get it. Like it,
Yeah.
I like it. I'm gonna keep it. Like it's not in purgatory. I mean, it's in storage basically.
Yeah.
I'm not getting rid of it, but it didn't really work for me. So it is now a collectible because it
Yeah.
didn't work for me, I guess is how I
Yeah.
approach that question.
Yeah. I feel the same. Although I was on a hunt for mine, so I didn't know how it was gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What is next? Oh, this was I had a couple to pick from, but you go first this
I
time.
hate gilding. Like we all know,
Yeah.
I hate gilding. I chop off most of the gilding. Can we please just stop gilding decks? Like I'm over it. Like particularly
Unless
mass market decks, stop gilding the mass market decks because you're not going to do it nicely. So just don't.
unless you're
But
these decks, yeah.
but okay, and I just pulled out the Star Child Akashic because it's just smaller and I had it at hand. If you're going to gild a deck, in my opinion, this mat is the way you do it because you can't feel it. And that is my issue with gilding. I don't mind gilding. I don't mind blingy. I have blinged out decks myself, like with stamp and stuff. And I think this is cool that it like, it has that look to it. If I could figure out the camera and all that. But my like tarot is a tactile experience. If I can't shuffle the deck because the gilding is cutting my fingers, that's a problem for me. And
Yeah.
most mass market gilding is cheaper. So like let's just stop gilding the mass market decks. Leave the gilding to the higher quality indie decks unless they're going to do it properly. I think there's a few indie or mass market decks that are nicely gilded,
There's
but that's a
one.
recent thing.
That is, yeah, there's one I can think of, but that's not the one that I chose. The Fyodor Pavlov?
The Pavlov tarot, that's the one I'm thinking of too.
Yeah.
It's very nicely gilded. But on the whole, that's not
What they do, yeah.
yeah, that was also a luxury sort of edition type of a
That's
thing.
right. It was twice the price of most mass market decks because it was like 40 something.
Yeah. And I mean it's beautiful and the gilding's
Yeah.
done well. So like if you're gonna gild something, like do it right or don't do it at all. Like
Yeah, that's the only kind of
don't
gilding that
forget
I
off the pot.
like. Gild on the pot, something like that. Some new phrase that we just
I was keeping it PG. Don't forget off the pot.
um, but yeah, I was thinking of the Fyodor Pavlov,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking of another deck that I just got as well, but I didn't pick either one of those. I didn't pick Fyodor Pavlov. I didn't pick the Goblins and Gardens Tarot. I picked this one.
Oh yeah.
And this is the type of gilding that is shiny but smooth. It's like flush with the card. It's not like
No lip.
sticking out. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no lip. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah. So the Anima Mundi here, I guess, can we
Yeah.
even see it?
Yeah,
It's
it's like the I think Lisa did the Tildwick and the Tildwick has same like it's real
that's the
shiny,
same.
but
Yeah.
it's so smooth and it's so nice to work with.
And I think it helped. I don't know if it makes a difference for the gilding, but I mean, the whole tactile experience for me is great because it's also linen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is the most lush deck to shuffle in my collection.
Like cheap gilding is just please stop, because then I just have
Yeah.
to cut it off, and
Yeah.
it's a whole thing. I mean, it's fine, but if two things are going to happen, either I'm going to cut it off so I can use the deck, or I'm going to rehome the deck because the gilding
Right.
cuts my hands. So
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind trimming a deck, but like the amount of crappy gilded decks out there,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
So we talked about gilding that we love. Now we're going to talk about cardstock that we hate.
I mean, I might have feels about cardstock. Do we all know I have feels about cardstock? Okay, but the question is, what deck do you love
But
hate the cardstock?
Okay, you want me to go first?
Sure.
So I'm not that as fussy about cardstock as some people I know.
And some of your snobby friends.
And I'm not an expert on cardstock like some other people I know who did like a whole video on it. And researched it, which is so cool. But I mean, it is, important to me to be able to shuffle. And riffle shuffle is my favorite thing to do. I mean, I've been playing with cards since I was a little girl. So this deck I love. It's beautiful. It's like amazing. This is a mass market deck, and it seems like it should be indie, right? But it is so giant, and cardboardy.
Cardboardy, yeah. That's a good pick because that's such a great deck, but the cardstock is
So let me see
not
if I
fabulous.
can. So the artwork is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
It's this very witchy running through the woods. I didn't even pronounce it because it's in French, but it's the Tarot of the Strange Branches or Antlers.
Google that every time with that deck. It's one or the other.
Google has translated it both ways. We should ask Marlene.
Probably.
Marlene, what does this say?
Is it branches or antlers?
Branches or antlers. Okay.
They do have antlers, though.
They do, but it's also branches, right? Know. But that's not the question. That wasn't the question. So it's enormous. I can't even get the whole deck out, but it is chunky and I cannot shuffle it. And the cardstock is I don't know. I just can't shuffle the whole thing. It drives me nuts. And I want to, but I can't. And I can't even I like to have my decks out and I put them in this little letter what do you call that? A little letter box carrier thing.
Yeah, little letter holder.
Letter holder, and it won't fit. This deck is the cardstock. Love it, but hate the cardstock.
So mine is the exact same as Lisa's because we have the exact same gripe with the textured tarot.
Oh yeah.
Because I went with there are lots of decks that I don't like the cardstock.
Yeah.
But I might have made a video about it. But this is a deck that I honest to goodness love this deck. But you cannot riffle shuffle it. And the creator even says, don't riffle shuffle this deck. But it's it's so beautiful. I love it. I love working with it, but you have to overhand it. And it's chunky too. That's a chunky deck.
Yeah,
that's half the size of my cat people. But it's so beautiful and I love working with it and it reads really, really well. But even to try and overhand it is difficult. And I live in constant fear of bending a card because I've heard of so many people who have bent this deck cards, even overhanding it. So it's one of those that I'm real gentle, please don't. I'd be nice to you be nice to me, and we'll all be good. So it's I'm precious with it.
You should fan it.
I could fan it, I guess. I mean,
And do
I don't really have the space. I say that there's a giant table behind me, but there's so much other crap on my table.
don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Right?
Oh my
But
god.
it's beautiful. And that was kind of the thing because there was other decks that I'm like, I really don't like this cardstock, but I also really like don't love the deck. This
Yeah.
is a deck that I like legit love and I will not get rid of it.
Yeah.
But I hate the cardstock. And I
Yeah.
keep hoping the creator will come out because everybody says it. I don't know a single person. And if anybody out there absolutely loves the cardstock of the Texture Tarot, please tell me because I would love to know if anybody actually likes the cardstock to work with. Because everybody I know says the exact same thing. It's like, it's a deck you live in fear of working with.
Oh my god. Yeah. That takes away from
I mean, like, not to be dramatic or anything, but.
That's funny.
Okay. Number 13. The deck gives you the willies.
I feel like you already know my answer because I told you guys.
Did you? Oh, was it in the chat?
Yeah, I think I told you guys in the chat. What deck gives you the willies? So there's two. And for me, so this is not because there's anything wrong with the artwork. It's just that it's like because of the style of the artwork, because it's so both of these decks, because it's so childlike, it's as if a child drew it, and that was intentional, I think, behind the artist behind the decks, that it's like children in horror movies. That's the same. It's like the same creepy feeling that I get.
Oh yeah, you were talking about children with gas masks on.
Yes, because I just watched
Doctor Who reference.
Yes, I just watched that Doctor Who episode. Are you my mummy? Mummy. Oh my gosh. That is so scary. But I just freaked myself out. Sorry. It's nighttime and it's
late there.
Okay. So the two decks that give me the willies the most are drum roll. No, are the Playful Heart Tarot and I can't remember what it's called now. Oh, the Luminous Void.
Sorry, let me answer for you.
I just can't with those. I just can't. They're just, it's like The Ring. It's like, it's like a horror movie for me. I can't with them. And people are probably like, what is the matter with you? Maybe they would, I feel like people might understand the Luminous Void before the Playful Heart. But it just it gives me the creeps. I'm sorry to those of you that love
Lisa was the Playful Heart, really?
Yeah. And Lisa loves both of those decks. Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry, but they creep me out. I try not to tell people about this because I don't want to offend anyone, because people really love those decks. But yeah.
I totally get the Luminous Void. I don't have that deck. I have the Cantagee Oracle, and I have not worked with it because I kind of get that. No. But mine is any deck that has freaking holes in it.
Yes.
What I forget what that's called, trip to something or other.
You should know it's your phobia. You can't remember.
I cannot with holes. I have rehomed several decks. Even thinking about it, gives me the literal willies.
Oh,
Renee was doing her deck collection, and there is an Oracle deck that she had that I bought after she got it. This was several years ago, and I was like, oh my god, it's got holes, and it immediately went back. And so before she showed it in her deck collection, she was like, trigger warning, this has holes. I'm like, thank you, because I looked away.
That's a thing.
It is a thing. I didn't realize actually until I came on TarotTube and started admitting my own, hangups and phobias to just anyone who cared to listen. That a lot of people have a whole issue.
Is my thing a phobia? Or is it just me being a weirdo? Are you afraid of childlike artwork? Tell me if there's a phobia. Anybody out there?
I mean, some of that I can kind of get that because some of the childlike artwork kind of creeps me out too. I get that to some degree too, because there are a few decks that I'm like, I think it's the Iris Oracle. That it's very childlike, and I think but I think for me that's more of like a shadow work thing than it is like an actual phobia. Like the whole thing is a phobia. Like I can't even, like, when Thanksgiving comes around, like I can't even look at the turkey.
Yeah, like
Because it has a giant hole in it.
Yeah.
So, like, Kevin makes the turkey, and
Yeah.
there have been times where he's chased me around the house with a turkey because it has a giant hole in it. That's all my weird crap just out there in the open, but
I thought mine's weird too, okay? It's weird. But people may not understand the deck thing, but they'll definitely understand the little kid in horror movie thing.
Oh,
That
for sure. Yeah, little kid in horror movies, for sure. There's
that's the
nothing
feeling, yeah.
creepier than a kid in a horror
Yes.
movie. Yeah, totally get that.
Okay. All right. Go to the next one.
Okay.
Let's do it. We're on a roll.
All right.
Speaking of shadow work, hello.
Shadow work. Favorite deck for shadow work.
Your favorite deck for shadow work. Okay. This is also hard to answer because I feel like shadow work can come out in any deck. Yeah. I feel like I'm quoting you to you.
Yeah.
I'm quoting my favorite quote to her.
Like in the Shadow and Bone, well, in the books, but he says it in the show too. Like one of the characters says to Alina, he's like, "I love it when you quote me." That's how I feel. But yeah, that's how I feel. This was a hard one for me because I don't do shadow work. I don't set out to do it. That crap just happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like bang out of nowhere. Oh, here's some shadow for you.
Yeah. I mean, hell, life's been rough the last few years for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we can't help but be doing, heavy work, bringing things to the surface. So yeah, that's what's been going on. But if there was a deck or two, actually there's two, that that when I use them together kind of just was this like magical combination that helped bring things to the surface for me. It was these two. The Crow's Magic Tarot with the Oracle of Echoes. Are they both out of print? I know Crow's Magic is out of print. Is Oracle of Echoes?
I think that one comes and goes because I think she does it in batches. Yeah.
Crow's Magic is so weird. I freaking love it for being weird. But it definitely is like primal. That's, I think, what it is about it. And then when you pair it with, look at this lizard, like what? Come on. It's got dinosaurs in it. If any deck that just throws random pterodactyls in, like I'm on board. But when you then have it next to these images, am I in the center? Mm-hmm. I'm like, again, I don't know what I'm doing.
That's good. I like that you can pick up the colors across the two decks too.
So for whatever reason, the color story, because it's completely different artwork, right?
Yeah.
It's the way they talk to each other just brings out things that I didn't know was there. Mm-hmm. And that's, I guess, the idea behind shadow work. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Crow's Magic Tarot, Oracle of Echoes.
That's cool. That's a good one. I could see that. So I kind of took it from the same perspective, because I don't set out to do shadow work, it just happens. Mm-hmm. I took it from a perspective of if I get this deck out, I know I'm in for some shadow. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't entirely call it a shadow work deck, but it will always bring up something somewhere in some context of shadow for me, and it's the Somnia.
Oh, Somnia. I was going to say Purple Walker.
This deck just it never, like, it is kind of a call me out deck. Yeah. But it doesn't matter what I pair it with, because I pair this a lot with the Black Madonna.
Yeah.
Which is not really a shadow work deck for me. I approach that work very differently. But when I pull out the Somnia, I know that there's going to be shadow somewhere in these cards. It always happens. It's just going to pull that out, and
it's a deeply intense deck. Like everything about the colors, the figures.
I love it, but I have to be in the right space and ready to use this deck. This card stalked me for how long? Like 2 months, 3 months? Like for a long time, this card stalked me.
Oh, is that the Judgment?
The Judgment, yeah. Which is very similar to the Lovers, which is really cool. And this card stalked me too. So there's the Lovers. And
oh yeah, with the ladder.
The ladder both going up. I mean, it's super cool. I really dig this deck. And I definitely thank Rumor for it, because like if I hadn't seen her pair it with the Black Madonna, I wouldn't have bought it. And while I do use those two decks together quite often, I do use the Somnia on its own or with other things. But like I gotta be ready for it, because I know it's gonna pull out something.
That's so funny, that Judgment card, because like I could not think of a more wildly different Judgment card than the Desert Illuminations with the cow, and then that one that's like so deeply intense. Oh my god, that's funny.
That's awesome. I love it.
And that's both tarot.
Both tarot.
That's just so cool.
That's so cool. Okay, so 15. What deck do you love in theory but not in practice?
I knew this one immediately. What about you?
Yeah, as soon as I had to go to my storage for it.
Okay.
Because in theory but not in practice. But yeah, as soon as I got to my storage, I was like, yep, that's the one.
You're not actively using it? Go for it. Show me.
It is the Archangel Power.
Oh.
I love the structure of this deck. So the theory of the deck, I love. And I guess I'm taking theory as in literally.
You have an oracle.
No, this is a tarot.
Oh, that's a tarot?
It just looks like an oracle.
Gotcha.
So I took it kind of like in a literal sense. Like I love the structure of this deck. I love that we have the different archangels in the major arcana, which is pretty on par for all of Rodley Valentine's angel decks. But then the minors are divided up into the 4 archangels. So I love like how we have that, and you'll see it's still in order, because in practice this doesn't work for me. But here's like Raphael, and then we have Michael, and we have Ariel, which in my opinion should be Uriel, but that's again in theory I love it, but in practice it doesn't work, because I have my own associations, I think, to these archangels, and the correspondences and stuff don't align with how I see and work with those angel energies, but I won't get rid of it. So it lives in storage, and I won't get rid of it, because I do really, really like the structure of it. It's just in actual working with it, it does not work for me. But I love the structure and the theory of it, right? I took it literally. Not just, you love the idea of this deck, but it doesn't work. No, I took it as in I literally love the structure of the deck. But it don't work for me.
That's how I approached it too, exactly the same way.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, if Amenadiel was in that deck, maybe you would.
Maybe.
That would be another random deck. A Lucifer deck would be great.
Lucifer deck, yeah.
Okay, so I approached this exactly the same way. What deck do you love in theory but not in practice? Because I haven't been able to use this as a working tarot deck. I've used it in study, I've used it, and I love it in theory. And it's this. The Tabula Mundi. Like, I want to be able to use this deck. I think I have the deck in separated. Yep, I do. I have it in order of the minors. I love the structure of it. I love the blend. I love that. I mean, I have listened to the podcast, the Fortune's Wheelhouse, where she explains, and in the book too, Tarot Deciphered, they use and discuss this deck and, you know, her artist intentions behind it. And I love everything about it when they talk about it, or when she talks about it. Marlene, she's brilliant. And you know, I love the artwork. I don't know why. Maybe because I choose Thoth, just the Thoth itself over this deck, but like, I don't know. It's a
I
bummer.
don't think you're the only one though, because I've heard a lot of people who like they like want to like it, they want to work with it, but it just doesn't work for them.
Yeah. Look at the backs. My
I know
God.
the backs are awesome.
Blingy. It's I have the smaller version. Do you have the bigger one?
I have the bigger version, yeah.
Yeah. This is so funny. Because all of them
Yeah.
for you.
I did pick a deck.
You did?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you pick a deck?
I did. I don't know how you're gonna react to the one that I picked. I think you're gonna like it. So you go first. Oh my
Okay.
God, if we picked the same one, it would be hilarious.
I'm pretty sure we did it.
Oh my God.
Because the deck I would never use to read for someone else is my Llewellyn. And it is this particular one. Now, I would totally pull out my other copies of the Llewellyn Tarot. And like, do we all need to see this? It hasn't been on my channel enough. I haven't shown it recently. I've been good, right? Yeah. But this one is this is my personal, like, people don't touch this deck.
Yeah.
Like, if I let you touch my Llewellyn Tarot, that's pretty special. And there's only a handful of people who have ever touched this deck because I'm like real particular about it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's a hard one for me because like I don't read for other people. So
right. So pretty much everything
is that. But in particular, if there was one deck in my collection, that's kind of how I took it.
Yeah.
If there's one deck in my collection that I would not want to pull out to show, to not necessarily show, but like do a reading for, or, you know, here, take a look at this. Like, other people don't touch this deck, and I'm not precious about my decks except for this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because it's like, so, I don't know, it's so full of like my energy or whatever. It's a very personal, my personal deck kind of thing. So
yeah.
You knew the Llewellyn was going to show up somewhere.
I did. Well, for a second I thought we had picked the same deck, but we didn't, because I don't even own the Llewellyn. I picked this one, and you're the only one who's going to know exactly what this is right away.
That is true. That's also a deck that I would never use to read for someone else.
So for those of you who have no idea, I'll show the backs too, because they're still going to be like, what the heck is that? Because most people.
That's another, I hate the card stock.
God, this creator of this deck, what were they thinking?
God, terrible.
This is a Don Michelle deck called, well, we call it the BDH. Yeah. So Big Damn Heroes deck that Dawn made herself. Look who's right up top.
Daniel.
That's so funny.
He loves us. That was the first card I made too.
That Dawn made from TV shows and movies, all her favorites. And so for me, this deck, like, I can't read for anyone else with this deck, probably ever. I don't think I feel like I've never even done like a tarot for two reading with this for you, because you made it. But like, I'm not a deck creator, and I don't know that I ever would be. But I feel like I had a part in like the creation of this deck. So it feels like it's mine too. So
I always call it's our deck, because you helped me choose it all. But it's like, it's totally, for anybody who doesn't know, it's handmade. I literally printed it at home. I laminated it. I cut it out and I shipped it off.
Yeah. And it's what do you call the art? Digital manipulation?
It's like digital manipulation.
Okay. So all of the majors are from movies, and all of the minors, or each suit of the minors, is from a particular TV show.
The courts are, yeah.
Oh, the courts.
Yeah.
But the minors are, the minors cross different.
Yeah. The numbers are from whatever fit.
Yeah.
And then the courts are in their little fandom.
Right. And it's just, oh my God. See, like this was my idea for the star card.
Which was a perfect idea.
Yeah, I could just look at this. Yeah. And then this is the strength card you made for me. I don't know. It's just special. And I use this deck is like my go-to for very like not romantic relationship, but like
interpersonal
relationship questions. Yeah. Peoply. It's so, because it's so peoply. But anyway, yeah, it's special and it's for me and not for others. So
nope, because there's only 2 that exist in the whole wide world.
Yeah, that's why I love it. So yeah. The BDH deck by Don Michelle.
That's awesome. I love that. I mean, I could have, like, mine lives right here. So, yeah. Like, I mean, I could have at hand. That is definitely a good mood deck, too.
Yes, for sure.
But it reads really well, actually.
It's a really good reader. Yeah.
Such a shame that it's like all copyright and everything.
Oh, that's right. And so it's not available. Sorry.
It's not available because I get in real big trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one,
I was gonna say, didn't we just do this? But this is a deck you would never use for yourself.
Yeah, which is, how can you answer that one also?
That is the question that I have like question marks by, because I do not own decks that I cannot use for myself because I don't read professionally. So if I own a deck, it's because I'm going to use it for me. It's like, they're all for me. It's all mine.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't share. I don't read for others.
Did you pick anything? No.
Because like, what would I even pick? I was even trying to think of like, is there a deck that maybe is out there?
Yeah.
But that's another question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, did you pick a deck?
Yeah, I did. So I'm not a professional tarot reader. Maybe someday I'll like go pro. I definitely do read for other people though, and I want to. I want to do it. Yeah, I want to do it more. But I don't use this particular deck to read for myself. I read with this deck for family. I don't like it for myself, but I keep it just for family because it's very palatable for people who might be afraid of tarot, which like my parents got, I love them. They're wonderful people, but they're a little afraid. They're superstitious about it. So the good tarot, which is funny because I think Lisa was just talking about this deck recently.
Yeah, she just got that one.
Yeah. But the good tarot is, I guess some people call it what? Nice wash?
Nice wash, yeah.
Well, look, this very first card is one of them. So like instead of the death card, you have transformation. So like I specifically took this deck over to my parents' house to read for my dad. Like my mom, I think, could handle it more, but like if the actual Waite Smith death card came up, he would freak out. So,
or the devil.
So this deck with I think I must have it in order, or I have all the majors up front. I must have been doing something looking at the majors. But yeah, so that's why the good tarot, because it's just for, I mean, I guess not just for family, but specifically for my mom and my dad.
That's awesome. So what deck could you not bring yourself to buy?
I mean, I had trouble answering
that about mine.
Do you? Okay, you go, because you seem to have an answer, and I did not know what to answer.
And it's a deck you showed.
Me?
Yeah. So it's the Animal Wise.
Oh.
Because I don't know. Like, I want to like it, and I keep stocking it on eBay, but I just never pull the trigger. I never buy it. I just can't seem to like bring myself to buy that deck because I
have you seen it at a reasonable price?
I feel like maybe once or twice, and I still like just didn't
do it.
like I just didn't do it. I don't like the photographs, and it's one of those decks that I feel like I would want to use the book and then make my own photographs. Like not make my own photographs, but like make there's nothing about the layout of the deck that I like.
Yeah.
Like
So
it's a mess on the front.
I don't have to worry about you trying to steal that deck from me then, so we don't have to fight.
I'll leave it in your cold dead hands. It's cool. I can stay
there. That's so funny. So I get that. I get it, you know, like especially with an out of print deck that you're unsure about, that like
it's still on my eBay watch list. I'm like, it still comes up, and every time I'm just like, no, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah. For me, it's a deck that has a price tag that is over $100. Like it's before shipping, out of print, indie, whatever you want to say. If it has a price tag of $100 or more, I can't bring myself to buy it. That's not to say that I haven't purchased decks that have a price tag that then with shipping goes over 100, but I haven't yet. I mean, this may change if there's something that I want bad enough, but like there are decks that I've seen that are even just like 120 or 150 indie or sorry, out of print. And I won't do it. Like even if it's something I want really badly.
I will admit that gives me pause, but I have decks I have paid over $100 for.
Yeah.
Not many. And they're like, I think I paid more than that for my Yanasa because it was out of print for a really long time. And I paid out of print prices because I wanted it. I don't regret that at all. Yeah. That won't stop me.
Yeah.
It will definitely give me pause. Like if a deck is honestly like these days, if the indie decks, they're starting to get up to like $80 before shipping. Like I'm taking a beat before I order that because that's a lot to invest in something that I may or may not use.
Right. Yeah.
And like, you know,
I've spent 80 or 90 on an indie deck.
Oh, I have too.
I have definitely done that, but like I don't know what, like when we hit 100, like just when the the retail price is at 100 or more is when I'm like, I don't know. I haven't yet. That's my threshold for right now. That could change. I mean, that could change because inflation. That could change because of tarot trends. That could change. Because hey, I mean, I hope it could change if I start like doing, better.
Start manifesting all kinds of money.
Yeah, but like just saying, like right now, that's it. That's my threshold.
I mean, I think it's good to have like some limitations.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just
budgets are good. Like not everybody can just free for all. Whatever.
Right.
Budgets are good. Lists are good. Like having your comfort, knowing your comfort level is, I think, good.
But having said that, but I will put 5, mass market decks in my cart that equal over $100. But it feels like, I mean, it just feels like you're getting more for your money.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's a total mentality thing.
It totally is, yeah. Okay. Next. Oh, this one's fun.
Favorite pip deck.
Yeah.
So my favorite pip deck, it's hard for me to pick a favorite pip deck because I do actually really like pip decks. But I chose my Antique Anatomy. This is the indie edition, but this is available mass market. I just think that Claire did such an amazing job on this deck. Like, and for a pip deck, let me find an actual pip. That's okay. So I think it's just really well done. And the guidebook that comes with the mass market edition is really fantastic. And anytime anyone asks me about learning to read pip decks, I always recommend this deck. This deck with the guidebook that comes with this deck, that's like your one-stop shop for learning kind of intro into reading more numerologically and reading a pip deck. Followed by, you should always buy the book Untold Tarot by Caitlin. I think it's Caitlin Matthews. I think we all say Caitlin, but I don't think that's correct.
Oh, I don't have that book. I guess I didn't listen.
It's really, you didn't listen. You haven't gone into your Marseille studies yet.
Oh yeah, for Marseille.
It's the Marseille deck, but honestly, if you just want to learn to read more numerological and elemental, you know, like until I get my book out,
yeah, right.
Plug. That the Untold Tarot is a great book because it does go into a lot of that. But I think for a pip deck, this is like an amazingly done pip deck. You can find things in the pips if you're looking for more scenes, kind of scenic things. It can be found in this deck as well. But also the guidebook is amazing for anyone learning to read a pip deck.
My favorite pip deck is this one, the Shakespeare Oracle.
Oh yes, Shakespeare Oracle, because that's the one I keep hunting on eBay.
Yeah, it's not an oracle; it's actually a tarot, and yeah, it's out of print. So sorry, but yeah, it is. I mean, I guess it's a pip deck, right?
Pip deck, yeah.
But it has quotes from the plays. So I guess maybe that's what makes it more accessible for me.
That's your gateway.
Yeah. Into let me just make sure, because I want to be showing the pips, right? But yeah, I love it. I mean,
one of these days I'll find it.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. I love all of the choices. Talk about a really good guidebook. Action is eloquence. Oh, that's a good one for the Ace of Quills, which would be the air suit. Swords.
That's awesome. Number 20 is what deck slaps you with the truth. What is your truth teller deck? I've got mine.
All of them, I guess. Okay, all of them tell me the truth, but I guess this one's the key word here is slaps,
which is not like that slaps, as in like something kids say. I don't even know what that means, really. But let me show my age.
You go first. You go.
Okay. So mine will probably be no surprise. It's my salty grandma deck. Because like
Barbara Walker
just every time. Truth bomb.
Yeah.
She don't care. She's not worried about hurting my feelings. She's just like, get your crap done. Stop asking me the same question over and over again. What is wrong with you? That is what this deck does.
That deck is intense. Yeah.
It is. It's amazing. I think that this deck, Tarot Geek had mentioned as like if you could have what deck you wished existed, this in a bigger size.
Yes.
I totally am 100% on board with that. Like this at like borderless with like a nice, even just standard tarot size. Hello, who is this? US Games, like please. So yeah, truth tellers. I love it. It sits in my favorites basket because I use it all the time. But it's like, yeah, it's my salty grandma because it's just like, I'm sick of your crap. Do the work and move on with your day, right?
US Games has all the like old classic decks, right? So
like the Morgan Greer and the
to have it in the size of the Morgan Greer, full color bleed.
Yeah, full bleed would be fantastic.
Full bleed.
You can put the title and the keyword stacked on top of each other down at the bottom. Yes. Like it's a thing. You can do it. I swear.
Yeah. Just listen to us out there. Yeah.
We know what we're talking about. We're professionals here.
Right. So I needed to think about this for a minute because I don't know that like I feel like my deck slapped me. I guess because the tarot for me over the last like 2 years, because I haven't been working with tarot that long, has been much more of a comfort than anything else. Like it's what has gotten me through a lot of stuff over the last 2 years. So I thought about this, and then I just thought about one that is just like a really just honest in a way that I guess isn't caring about my feelings as much. So I guess that's what you were saying. But I don't know if it's like a haul off and like really slap me, or more just like a, hey, wake up kind of a nudge, snap, slap, whatever. And it's the Raven's Prophecy Tarot.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. Is it gentle for you? Is it a gentle deck to you?
No, I wouldn't call it a gentle deck, but it wouldn't be up there with like my Barbara Walker or my Black Lily Tarot. I almost picked that one too.
Yeah. It doesn't mess around. It just doesn't mess around. Like,
yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's not it's just not mucking about. Like it's kind of intense in some ways. I guess maybe the color, like the minimalist imagery, but things are on fire. Like you've like things are messed up, you know? So, and you can't hide.
That's a good Five of Wands too.
Yeah, it's really good. You can't hide from it. It cuts straight to what's going on. I cannot ignore it. And it's more like a hey, look than a slap in the face kind of a thing. So I love this deck. But I've tended to use it around Halloween. So
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. I mean, black and orange. Come on.
Okay. This is it. 21.
I don't have it. It's not here.
I don't have it either because it got away.
Yeah. I don't know what yours is. Do I know what yours? What is your deck that you? So for you, this is a deck that you've always wanted that you could have had at some point, and then didn't get it when you could have gotten it. Oh my God. That's a tongue twister. Wait, it's a deck you wanted.
I wanted it. I still want it. I could have got it. I don't ever see it, and I won't pay the prices that I see it for when
I know what it is. I know what it is. Yours is Jane Austen Tarot. Yes. And you could have got it when it was still in print. You knew about it and didn't get it then.
Yeah. And I don't know why. I don't know, because like sometimes like you think it's mass market, right? It's always going to be available.
And I've heard you say those words.
Yeah. And then when I was like, oh yeah, I really want it, it was out of print. And then now anytime I see it, it's like it's $300-$400. And
that's insane.
There's no way. I'm like, okay, so if there was a number, $300. I don't care what it is. There's no deck in the world that is worth $300 to me.
No, not.
But I had the availability to get it, and I didn't, and I slept on it, and then I've hunted it. It's still in my like eBay watch list. I still hunt it.
Yeah,
it's never available. And I don't know, like now it's kind of like it's a thing, right? I don't need the Tarot of Jane Austen, but I want it. And it's like if it ever does come around, I might. But every other deck that I have tried to get eventually as come into my life, like the Spolia, that one took forever for me to be able to find a copy that I could actually get, and then it disappeared on me for a while, but it came back. So
really want there's not that many, but of those, there's only one that got away because it was still in print when I started my tarot journey. I'm pretty sure it was still in print, and that's the Tarot of the Crone. And I didn't get it. And I thought that
I back into print not that long ago.
Yes. And I thought I would have time, and I put it off. And then when I was like, okay, I'm ready. I want this one. And it was out of print. I'm like, what? It's out of print now? And now like that one too, people like there are people selling it, trying to sell it. I say trying to sell it because I don't know if people are actually paying those prices
I
for like
I
$300,
see the same ones
$400.
listed over and over again,
Me
still for
too.
$300-$400. So clearly,
Yeah.
it's not moving.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I was yelling. I echoed because I said me too so loudly. But like I would really, really love to have a copy of the Tarot of the Crone.
Mm-hmm.
But it got away. So
I mean, it might come back into print at some point, but like Ellen Lorenzi Prince decks, man, you can't sleep on those.
yeah.
They go so fast.
I thought I thought the Stunning Tarot got away from me, but it didn't.
Didn't
But
wasn't that
I
you bought that in the middle of the live too?
I did. I bought it in the middle of the live, the Weavers live. But no, what I was gonna say about the Tarot of the Crone is that I heard rumors that it might come out mass market.
Yeah, I've been hearing that rumor for like 3 years though.
Dang it.
It's like the rumor that the Animals Divine by Lisa Hunt is going to come back into print, and I don't know if that's true or not. Or that whether the creator is going to, or it's going to
I
come
want to
back.
believe this rumor.
I know.
So yeah.
I mean, I hope it does, but on the other hand,
Mm.
like I would be scared of what Schiffer would do to it.
It's true.
Like,
I did a major mod on my Dark Goddess Tarot.
yeah, I did too. Well, I bought the mass market to get the guidebook because I
Yeah.
have the Indie of the Dark Goddesses, and I way prefer that. But
Yeah, I don't have the indie of that one.
I did a whole mod on it. I think I did a mod with me, and then I was like, I'm not keeping the deck. I don't know. I don't need it. I won't ever use it. So I rehomed the deck with just making sure that person knew that you can't have the book. Like the book is mine. I need the book. I love the book. But that was another one that was totally worth buying the deck just to get the book.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, we did it.
We did it. We did. I can't even say what we did because I'm tongue tied. We did
21 decks.
tarot questions, right?
Mm-hmm. And we won't say how long it took so that I can edit it.
And it only took us 45 minutes to do it. There, take that, Lisa. And actually, it's not 21 decks because between the two of us, it's 42 plus.
Well, plus, because you cheated.
I cheated. Mm-hmm. I cheated.
And technically, I guess some of them we didn't have to show. So,
right.
There is that.
Yeah. That was so fun, Dawn.
That was fun. Thank you so much for being here. We'll definitely have to do it again.
Thank you for having me. I love doing guest spots on my friends' channels.
And it's my first having a guest on this channel.
That's incredible that you've never done that before. That's so crazy.
Well, I just feel like, who wants to come hang out with me and talk about tarot stuff?
You're too much of a big deal.
No, definitely not. I'm just more like, I would bore people. This is why I don't do lives except for members either, because I'm like, oh my goodness, what would I talk about? People do not want to sit and listen to me talk for 2 hours. Turns out some people do.
Yeah, they do.
I love them all for it.
Yeah.
So I will leave the prompts all in the description box below. Definitely check out Lisa's original video on the 21 tarot questions. And whatever else I'm not going to link the decks probably because there's between the two of us there's just too many, so I apologize for that. Even I have my limits for how long I will sit and make lists of links. So thank you all so much for joining both of us today. Thank you to Marlena for coming and hanging out with me, and we hope you enjoyed our long answers to the tarot questions. And I look forward to sharing with you again soon. But that sounds stupid when you're in person.
Yeah. Yeah, because then I say, and I hope that you have a beautiful, wonderful day.
Maybe I'll just mush those two together.